Trenton Bourguet is coming back for his senior season, and Drew Pyne is transferring after 1 year with the Sun Devils. I'm going to give you my reactions to the news on this edition of the Locked On Sun Devils podcast.
You are Locked On Sun Devils, your daily podcast on the Arizona State Sun Devils, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On Sun Devils podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. My name is Richie Bradshaw, and I will be your guide for everything Arizona State Sun Devils. Thanks as always for tuning in and making us your first listen of the day. Wherever you're getting your podcast, hit like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications so you get an update whenever we post new content. Of course, you can stay in touch with that content by following me on Twitter. You can find me at RichieBrads36 and the podcast as well at LO_Sun Devils. We had some breaking news yesterday that I wanted to make sure that I addressed today for you guys. This won't be an overly long podcast, just my quick thoughts, breaking it up to Bourguet and Pyne. We'll start with Trenton Bourguet. Bourguet has decided to return for his senior season. What do I think? I think this is great news for the Sun Devils. Look, I understand he did not have the best year by any stretch of the imagination. Just one touchdown pass against 4 interceptions. He did score twice on the ground, but he did the best job that he could given the situation that he was placed in. He was not slated to be the week 1 starting quarterback. He was banged up all year. Man, I feel like he was helped off the field at least 3 times this year. He was constantly getting banged up and knocked around behind a offensive line that was also dealing with injuries and with an offense that was constantly changing, and it was just a very difficult situation for any quarterback. But Trenton Bourguet, in my opinion, was the one who suffered the most because of it, because he had the most playing time. And yet, with everything that was going on, it was just so hard for him to get his feet underneath him. And that's difficult for anyone. Bourguet not only trying to do that, but he's trying to play injured, and he's playing through it, and he's got the grit. He's got that mentality of, I'm going to power my way through this. I was impressed, and I think that more people should be impressed with the kind of person that Trenton Bourguet is, the kind of attitude that he brings to the table. This is a guy that I want on my football team in one way or another. And Bourguet, he's probably the backup quarterback, right? As long as Jaden Rashada is healthy, he's going to be the 12-game starter. Unless he's just terrible. And I don't really foresee that happening. I still am very high on Jaden Rashada. But to know that you have Bourguet in your back pocket in case of an emergency, classic break the glass in case of emergency, you could do a lot worse than Trenton Bourguet. I look at him as one of the best case scenarios for the Sun Devils in the face of a travesty kind of situation. He's embodying what I look for out of a player like him. He brings that moxie. He's not cocky. He is very much a leader by example and a leader by character. He's a morale guy. He may not be the rah-rah guy, but he's the guy who's keeping everybody's chins up, keeps the spirit alive. He brings so much to the table outside of the box score. And I truly think that his box score numbers would have been better either if A, he started all 12 games, or B, he wasn't injured. He was dealing with injuries all year. And it's so hard to assess a player that is constantly banged up the way that Bourguet was. One of the more important factors that I see here as well is, from an outsider's perspective looking in, this looks like somebody who is going to really help activate the Valley. He's got a fundraiser that's coming up where he's going to be matching up to $10,000 to go to the NIL collective for the Sun Angel collective. That's huge, man. It speaks volumes about his character. It speaks to me as somebody who truly cares about this program the best for them is where he has his interests. I'm really excited about Bourguet coming back. And I really hope that you guys are able to find some excitement with him coming back as well. No, he's not Peyton Manning. But you know what? He doesn't need to be Peyton Manning. What I need him to be is a poster boy of what it means to be a Sun Devil. I need him to continue to be that leader and the guy who leads by example, the guy who rallies the troops when we need him to. I just want him to continue to be that kind of person. Not even a player. You can take that out of it. I just want him to be that person in the locker room, on the field, on the sidelines, wherever it is. He's the guy that I believe is going to help bring up the next generation of Sun Devils as well. I hold him in very high esteem. If you guys couldn't tell, I understand that he's not the greatest player in the world, but he is one of the best leaders this team has right now. Want to take a quick break to talk to you guys about our friends over at PrizePicks. With basketball season here, you can go into the Combo Projections League that's across the football and basketball landscape. It's called the Specials League, a league created specifically for combo projections that includes 2 or more players from different sports or leagues. An example, you can get LeBron James and Travis Kelce at a 10.5 point combo for 3 points made and receptions. If you want to play alongside some of PrizePicks' favorite players like rapper Meek Mill and comedian Andrew Schultz, you can. You can find them in the community plays under the promos tab of the app to see the entries from some of the biggest names in the PrizePicks community every week. PrizePicks even offers a reboot policy, so your entries stay in play even if one of your players gets injured. For football and basketball games, if you have a player who exits in the first half and doesn't return in the second, that player is rebooted. PrizePicks is the only daily fantasy sports platform with an insurance policy. It's simple to play. There's quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and enormous selection of players and stat types. It's what makes PrizePicks number one in daily fantasy sports apps. Go to prizepicks.com/lockedoncollege and use the promo code lockedoncollege for a first deposit match up to $100. Again, go to prizepicks.com/lockedoncollege and use code lockedoncollege for a first deposit match up to $100. PrizePicks, daily fantasy sports made easy. Also want to talk to you about our friends over at eBay Motors. Passion, drive, patience. It's what brings home the winning trophy, and it's what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance, from superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED lights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. We're going to go ahead and flip the script and take a look at Drew Pyne leaving the program now. And look, I will give Pyne the same credit that I gave Bourguet in a smaller extent, because it would not be fair of me to create excuses for Bourguet for injuries and then not do the same for Drew Pyne. That would not be fair. With that being said, there was such a talent gap when Bourguet was on the field compared to when Pyne was on the field. Drew Pyne looked like a fish out of water at Arizona State. 53.1% of his passes completed, 2 touchdowns against 3 interceptions, and a ridiculous 11 sacks in like 3 games. It was not good. Drew Pyne was very much a liability on the field when he was out there. And again, I understand that he was banged up. He had that hamstring tear that he had been dealing with. He got sidelined after, I think it was 3 games, but he did not get a chance to really get his opportunity at Arizona State. But even when he was on the field, he didn't look great. And again, I can totally acknowledge that part of that is probably because he was dealing with injuries. I don't know that Pyne was ever 100% healthy this year. Quite frankly, I don't know if any quarterback was 100% healthy besides Jacob Conover, but we all know how that went. Drew Pyne, to me, if he had come back, could he have succeeded? I think he could have found some success in a Kenny Dillingham offense. I feel like it'd be pretty difficult for a quarterback to not find success in a Kenny Dillingham offense. But I've seen stranger things, and not just the TV show. This was, to me, a mismatch. To me, this was not the best marriage in the world. And this isn't necessarily the fault of Pyne. It's not necessarily the fault of Dillingham. The pieces just didn't fall right. What is best for Pyne moving forward is what he's doing to move on and find a new place. I think it's best for both sides to take a look at your different avenues and opportunities. I don't know that that's here at Arizona State for him, because Jaden Rashada is coming back. And if Rashada is back, right, there's always a transfer portal, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But if Rashada is back the way we're anticipating him to be, then your best case scenario is quarterback 2. And again, Trenton Bourguet is coming back. So you might be the third quarterback on this team. And I think Pyne is still a starting quarterback. It's just not at Arizona State. So I think this is the right decision for him to be moving on. If you slander him too much, I feel like you're doing him a bit of a disservice. He didn't get a fair shake for an entirety of a season. He was banged up before the season even got started, and he got injured during the season. That's tough for anyone. It's tough for the best quarterbacks in the world to be able to do that. So I want to give Drew Pyne some peace and some benefit of the doubt here. I still don't think he was going to be the guy at Arizona State. I think this is best for both parties at this point. But that's kind of my overall thoughts here. Really excited that Bourguet is coming back. And quite frankly, I'm excited for Drew Pyne to get a new opportunity elsewhere. I want to know what you guys think, though, of the moves. Let me know in the comments. Hit me up on Twitter at RichieBrats36, the podcast at LO_Sun Devils. But I appreciate you guys as always. We'll be back here on Monday when the transfer portal opens up officially, and I'm sure we'll have plenty to talk about. So I'll see you guys then. Enjoy your weekend. Till then, you keep it locked right here on Locked On Sun Devils.